All right, guys. Thanks for getting on. Sorry to take up your Sunday night of bye week, but wanted to get together and answer any questions you have. Today is a tough day. I really love Sean. He was a tireless worker, very loyal. I just felt like it was at this time the best thing for our program to make a change, and we've done that. And Nunzio is going to be the interim offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, and we're going to move forward and we're going to get better. And I chose at this time to do it. It certainly, with the bye week, gives us an opportunity to do some things and make some changes and experiment with a few things, and that we will do. But without getting into too much detail, I think I needed to do this as the head coach of the team. It's my job to make sure that we're playing complementary football. I feel our football team can win plenty of games when we play complementary football. And as the head coach, that's your job. And when it's not happening, you try to fix it. And then at some point, you may have to make a change, and that's where I felt we were today. So that's how we find ourselves here. So I'll open it up for questions and hopefully try to help.
We'll start with Chris Eisman.
Greg, I guess just when exactly did you come to this decision, and I guess what was kind of the ultimate deciding factor that made you realize that that Sean was not going to be the guy to lead the offense going forward?
Well, certain things over time build up, and I gave it a lot of thought, obviously, since the end of the game Friday night. But it wasn't as a result of Friday night that this occurred. I really gave it a lot of thought all day Saturday night, well into Sunday, and I just felt at this time that was the right thing to do, what we needed to do for our football team.
Go to Brian Fonseca.
Greg, why did you choose Nunzio to be the interim, and is he a candidate for the permanent job, at the end of the season?
Well, he is a candidate, yeah, and he's got a 7-week kind of job interview as the coordinator. Why Nuns? I think that he is a very talented quarterback coach. The development of our quarterbacks is going to be an integral part of us being successful on offense. And I think he's got a lot of experience at running offenses, at coaching quarterbacks, and I think he was the man for this time.
Bobby Darren.
Greg, what's the process for searching for a new coach, and how do you balance it with still a half a season left to play?
Well, I've been doing this a long time. I know a lot of people. My main focus is our football team right now. There'll be time later on if that's the route we have to go. But it's not like you don't have guys already that you always keep on your short list. So that's not an issue. But right now, my focus is 100% on our football team. Look, I believe we can win games this year. I wouldn't have made this change. Right? I mean, you can do it the traditional way and wait till the end of the season. But I believe that we can win games this year if we play complementary football. That's why it happened now.
Steve Politi.
Hey, Greg, just from a philosophical standpoint, do you have any plans to change the way you run your offense? And just along those lines, I mean, Gavin was a guy that, that Sean recruited specifically. Are you concerned that he might transfer?
First question, I'm not going to give away too much, right? Because one of the advantages we have is we have a 2-week period before we play Indiana, and there will be some uncertainty on what we're doing offensively. But I want to have a multifaceted offense that uses tempo as a tool, as a weapon, but not as a constant. That's kind of where we are headed. But it's an execution-based offense that we need to improve our execution right now. As far as Gavin, Sean was the lead recruiter, but when you recruit a quarterback, the head coach is extremely involved. In my case, I'm extremely involved with all the recruits, but I feel very good about Gavin where he is, and he's got a bright future at Rutgers.
I guess just if I can follow up, I wonder if you're more concerned with just the game day operations or if you're concerned with the developmental process of the players overall. I mean, which one of those two is a bigger issue in your mind?
Well, I think they're both an issue, and I think one feeds to the other. So, development of our offense at 2.5 years in, and what you see on game day, those two things come together. And at this point, I just felt like we needed to do this.
Chris Nowalski.
Hey, Coach. I know Nunzio took over as head coach a couple years ago and kind of changed the offense. Then, what do you remember about watching Nunzio and the job he did a couple years ago?
I don't remember that much. I mean, I've watched some of those games when I first got here to get familiar with the players. But I've known Nunzio for 20 years. His family. I've followed his career, and I was always very impressed with the job he did running offenses and coaching quarterbacks. He's put a bunch of quarterbacks into Division I football. He has 2 or 3 guys that ended up being NFL quarterbacks. So I don't think that I think it's more of an accumulation of my experiences with Nuns over the years that led me to, elevate him to the position.
Do a few more here. Chris Eisman.
I guess when you look at the totality of the last 6 games, what do you feel like has kind of held the offense from performing at the level that it might be capable of?
That's a great question, Chris. There's several things that have occurred that we don't have enough hours in the day to go through all the small errors to all the structural issues that you can get into, that you can question. A lot of times you question things, and after the questioning, you realize, this is the best way. So those are hard things. That's a hard question. But I think when you watch, at the end of the day in college football, you need to score points, and we just aren't scoring enough points. And I want our offense to be as much of a weapon as our defense is right now. And that's not to, drive any kind of wedge or anything like that. I think we're capable of doing that, and it's not happening. So I felt like it was my job at this point to make the change that I did.
Brian.
Greg, a lot was made about Sean being the first $1 million coordinator in this program. Is the next coordinator, do you have the same salary range to work with when hiring the next guy? And did that play any effect at all in firing Sean, given that you still owe him the rest of that contract?
Look, Rutgers is going to honor Sean's contract as we would all expect. I have not gone down the road of who right now, as I said to you, my only focus, we're in the middle of a season. And I've never done this in my career. I've never dismissed a coach in the middle of the season. I did it for the reasons that I stated earlier. I believe we can win if we can get that side of the ball cleaned up a little bit. And it's hard. It's hard to do, really hard. I'm not even in the stage of, like I said, I know people, I know guys that I like, but right now we're just trying to get our offense cooking a little bit and get our team better in all phases. We have a bye week to do that. And that's all I'm focused on right now.
I'll finish up with Steve.
Greg, I'm curious what you would say to the fans about this, and just in general, you've spoken a lot about, the program almost being there or not being there yet. You've said a couple of times, and just overall, what would this moment in time your message be to the fans?
Well, one of the, my duty as the head coach at Rutgers, first and foremost, is to the players and the staff and the university. But I think the fans are a huge part of my responsibility as the head coach. So I do believe that we've gone from non-competitive to competitive. I do believe that those are the steps that oftentimes you have to take in building a program. Now, I do believe that we can go from competitive to winning and consistently winning. And that's, again, one of the reasons that I made the change now. I believe that we're good enough to win games this year if we can improve our offense. So to the fans, I understand the frustration. I also understand the growth, and you got to see both. There's been growth. There's steps along the way to getting to where we want to get to. And this is one of those steps. And this is a painful step, but it's definitely one of those steps. And we're going to get there. Guys, I appreciate you again getting on Sunday night and doing this, but I'll see you later in the week, I'm sure. All right. Take care.